Hey, just Jay here with DigitalDecorStore.com. Wanted to show you a DIY breathing grave prop that I built. You'll find if you look up breathing grave online, you'll see other tutorials too. It's super cheap, super simple, and I'll try to help you out with some of the pitfalls that I ran across. So let me show you layer by layer this illustration that I made. So the first thing I did is I started off with some wood, and I made a box that was about 2 feet wide and like 3 feet long, something like that, maybe 4 feet long. Not too huge. I just wanted to test this out. You could scale this to any size you want. Then I cut a hole in the top in one end of it for the motor, and then the other end, so that's the size of the motor on one end, and then on the other end it's the size of the PVC pipe that I'm going to be using. So then we mount the motor there. Now this is just a synchronous motor that you can get on Amazon for pretty cheap. I got 6 of them for less than $17, and depending on how many you buy, you'll get a better deal. But these are basically the exact same motors that are in what's called a reindeer motor. It just doesn't have the plastic casing around. They're not super strong. You'll see them as cup turner motors and other things, but they do the job for a lot of smaller props. Okay, so then depending on which one you get, it comes with a little attachment that you could put PVC onto it, or you can build your own little attachment for it. But if you get the ones with the PVC attachment already there, then you just attach your PVC, put it through the hole, cut it to length, and then I went ahead and I actually just used soda bottles. Cut a hole in this bottle, these sodas. Obviously I drank some sodas, and poke some holes through it, and then just drilled them right in there, so they're poking out. So I suppose that could snag the plastic at some point, but the plastic doesn't come down. There's a big enough gap there. So then I had some black plastic that I got for free, and I wrapped this around. I did staple this black plastic on there. Now, one thing to note with the black plastic is it worked really well when it was warm, because I didn't want it super tight, because then it would jam up the motor. So I let it be a little bit loose, but I should have had it be even more loose, because when it got cold at night, what I found was the plastic wouldn't be as malleable, and so then it would sometimes stop the motor. But the motor automatically turns back and forth, so if it gets jammed, it'll just rotate the other way, and then jam, and then rotate the other way. Anyway, just make sure that whatever you cover it in is loose enough that it doesn't stop the motor from turning. Then on top of that, I put some burlap and some dirt, put a headstone behind it, and then decorate it with some leaves around it. And that is basically what it takes to build something like this. Most of it I got for free, other than the motor. Like the wood was scrap wood, the plastic was scrap plastic, the burlap was scrap burlap. Like soda bottles were gonna go in the trash, and then just had some screws and stuff. So that's the basic idea behind this, and it's a super easy, really effective prop. A lot of people really liked it. It's very subtle, but when people are sitting there and then they look over and see it moving, it is very effective. Make sure that when you do your bottles, that you have enough clearance from the ground too. So you need clearance from the top. So it needs to be able to poke up, so it pushes through the plastic a little bit, but also it can't be so close to the ground that it's hitting the ground. So those are some things to look into when you're building this. I don't have exact measurements on this, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Play around with it, make one whatever size you want, and have fun. It'll be awesome. It's a really good, cheap prop to make.